everyone, my name is Jonathan, a student reporter with Invention Convention Worldwide. I'm super excited to introduce my guest, Danny, a ninth grader from Ohio. Danny's most recent invention, Neptune, Savior of the Sea, won the Environmental and Sustainability Industry Award and the Technology of Tomorrow Award presented by Raytheon Technologies at the Invention Convention US Nationals 2022 competition. Danny also worked with the partner Aiden on this project, but unfortunately, he's unable to join us today. Welcome, Danny.
Good to be here.
Yeah, first off, man, could you tell me a bit about what the inspiration or motivation was behind this project? Like, is there anything that makes you passionate about the ocean?
Yeah, so this all kind of started with Aiden and I. In seventh grade science class, we learned about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch in the middle of the ocean, which is basically like a ginormous pile of trash in the ocean. And then we also found that 95% of its total mass accumulation is microscopic plastics. So we kind of learned about that, and we knew that there wasn't really anything out there challenging the problem of microplastics. So we decided to kind of attack that issue with everything that we could.
One of the things that was really interesting to me is you used a photocatalytic filter, and like that's what gets rid of the microplastics. Could you explain that process a little bit?
Yeah, so the photocatalytic filter is also known as a TiO2 filter, which is a titanium dioxide filter. A lot of different names. They're all the same thing in the end. But basically what it does is it all these microscopic polymers undergo a process called photocatalytic oxidation. And just to break apart the word photocatalytic, photo is going to be light and your catalytic is going to be your catalyst. So it's using that light as a catalyst to break down radicals within the microscopic polymers, hence transforming it into something less harmful.
Interesting. Okay. And so like that, after it goes through this process, like now the new material that's been made through that, it's no longer harmful. So is it safe to be released back into the ocean after that?
That's the hope. So it's either so small to the point where it could not contaminate any organisms around that area, or it could basically be transformed into a new chemical compound.
During the development process, making different prototypes, did you have any major roadblocks, and what strategies did you use to work through them?
Of course, yeah. So we did good at nationals, but before nationals, we had to go from regional, state, then we went to nationals. So the one at nationals was actually our second prototype. Our first one was about that big, little cylinder thing with a giant solar panel on top of it. So definitely from there, we had to work with the waterproofing aspect. And even after nationals, we built an entire new project just to move forward to better, greater things. But yeah, so major roadblocks would include definitely waterproofing and the CAD designing behind it, because all of our parts were practically 3D printed or 3D designed or laser cut. And to do any of those processes, you need online CAD files. So Aiden and I definitely had to focus in on that, improve our skills to create those designs so we could actually have a functioning semi prototype.
And that's incredible. So like, yeah, like it's completely submersible. That's incredible. Like, were there any times where you had like electronic components or something and water got in and ruined some of it?
Oh, 100%. Recently, we just built a prototype because after that, we were lucky enough to get a sponsor from Australia, and he gave us funding to create an entire new prototype. And that prototype had a couple leaks in it. It broke a couple components, but we were able to find where those leaks did take place, and we were able to fix that so it'd be more functioning in the future.
Right. And so like when things like this happen where, you know, things don't go to plan and you could give up, like what keeps you going? Like what keeps you still continuing to go after this project and pursue like a successful solution?
A goal. And I feel like if I have a goal in the future and my prototype does fail, I have not reached that goal. And Aiden and I are definitely perfectionists, to say the least. And we would do anything to reach what our minds are set to. Like at the beginning of this was just like a silly little science fair project, but it has become so much more than that ever since that first day.
And so you got into this a little bit, but so far since Nationals 2022, like how have you been able to refine your prototype? And are there any new improvements or features specifically that you'd like to tell us about?
100%. So at Nationals, we had about 24 by 12 inch uh prototype, if that makes sense. So it was fairly small. I mean, like, it was large, it was heavy, but it wasn't big enough to really challenge or accomplish the idea of destroying microplastics by itself. So from there, we upsized it to about 3 times its previous scale. That was a big improvement. Our second big improvement is we redid every aspect of our technology on there. So basically what we did is, after nationals, we kind of scrapped all the ideas we had currently for technology, redid our entire motor system, redid our peristaltic pump system, and re-attacked the goal of photocatalytic filters and that placement. And even after that, after we did just test it with our business partner down in Australia, he wants us to once again redefine it. So in the future, we can hopefully implement that into the trash-ridden seas of Indonesia. So even after that, we are still thinking of further improvements that we can make upon this idea.
Awesome. Incredible. And so like, it seems like you guys are going to keep going with this, which is incredible. Like,
Yeah,
absolutely
so
keep going, keep going. Yeah, like say that we're in a perfect world and you have a fully functional prototype, everything works perfectly. What vision do you see for Neptune and the world, like specifically?
how Aiden and I like to tackle the problem of microplastics is we see it as a hidden killer. So this can cause cancers, intestinal inflammation, neurotoxicity within the body. And we are not doing enough to solve that problem. So any sort of application into the ocean to help this problem, because did you know that microplastics have been found in human blood and human gray matter? So they are in your body currently as we speak, and we consume about a credit card's worth of microplastics every single week. So we want to implement this into fresh water sources that we are getting our everyday supply of drinking water from, so we do not continue to build these these toxic chemicals within our body.
I didn't know that we consume that much, but that's like in that context, that's scary. That's scary.
Yeah,
It just shows that this is needed. This is needed for sure. Cool. And would you say that there are any other areas that you're as passionate about as you are for the ocean?
I think trash pollution nowadays within the entirety of the planet is going to break us. And any sort of implication towards the field of environmental sustainability in general, I would definitely like to tackle. Recently, I've just kind of been focusing on this prototype in specific, but I'm definitely passionate about future, because I think right now we're focusing too much about what's happening currently, and we're not looking into the future and what kind of problems our current actions are going to cause in said future.
Is that mainly like so that like idea, like we're talking about that in my class right now, and that's a huge issue. Would you say that you're mainly focused, like yes, like focus in trash and pollution, but are there any other areas that you may want to explore in the future to create inventions for that suffer from the same issue?
For sure. In the past, this isn't my first invention for through Invention Convention. I also have done a couple through the healthcare industry, and I feel like the microplastic problem and the healthcare industry are going to directly correlate, and they currently directly correlate with each other. So if we could have something or any just further research behind the science behind those microplastics to see how they affect our body, I feel like that would be incredibly what's the word for that? That would be an incredible necessity for the healthcare industry, because once again, this is going to be the hidden killer in the future.
Right. And so like stepping away from Neptune specifically and more so
Yeah,
like inventing in general, like
yeah,
tell me about your time at Invention Conventions Nationals 2022. Like what was your favorite part and just how was it to be around so many other inventors?
for sure. It was definitely a surreal experience, because we did this right at the start of COVID, or right towards the end of COVID. So even when we won at the state level and the regional level, none of that was in person. That was all online. So it was definitely a surreal experience to just be around so many intelligent people at the same time in the same building. One of the best experiences there was seeing like all the exhibits that the Henry Ford really had. That once again directly correlated to my invention, other people's inventions. It's a really nice facility down there. I would definitely recommend it.
That's incredible. And so yeah, are there any skills that you've learned from inventing that you apply to life in general?
Yeah. So definitely just a growth mindset. I feel like that can apply to every single aspect of your life, whether that is school, sports, or extracurriculars as such. Um, that really has helped me get through all of my schooling because I currently am in college classes and those can be incredibly challenging. And just having that mindset to sit down, work through a project, and just kind of taking that deep breath and stepping back from the situation to just reassess how that goes is incredibly helpful in my everyday life.
I know that you said you're working on Neptune right now, but do you have any more inventions on the way, or are you working on developing any ideas?
That's a great question. Currently, we're really just focusing on the development of Neptune and kind of taking it to even more competitions, kind of spreading that throughout the entire world. But once that's over, I don't think the passion for inventing and innovating is going to ever leave Aiden or I. So I definitely believe that in the future we will continue to create, build, and hopefully make the world a better place.
For everyone, young or old, who wants to be as incredible as you and start inventing, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, once again, never to give up. I've had too many instances where literally our invention has probably caught on fire. And I just have to step back from said situation. I just have to be like, where did I screw up on this? And what can I do differently? It's just that mindset that I feel like a lot of people lack because it is their first time inventing, which is incredibly it's not rare to have that mindset either. Because definitely I had that too, where I've been up too many times past 2 a.m. trying to get coding done on our device and it just fails for me to give up then. You just have to think all the time, all the effort that you put into that, do not let it be a waste.
Definitely, definitely. On behalf of all of us at Invention Convention Worldwide, thank you so much, Danny, for joining me. Be sure to check out other student inventor interviews on our YouTube channel. Until next time, bye.
Bye.